My name is Malvika Varadan and I'm very proud to bring you stories from around the world. Now this is a project by The Hive and Toddle, and there are some very important rules to remember. Number one, listen really carefully to these stories. Number two, don't be afraid to pause this video and act along and follow the instructions, alright? And number three, right after we finish reading our stories, after our story time, don't forget to try out all the cool craft activities in your Toddle box and make sure that you get your hands dirty. And it's time for yet another story from around the world. And today actually, our story is from very close to home. It's from the Middle East. Do you know that we live in the Middle East? You know what other countries there are in the Middle East? Well, maybe you want to find out. This one is called The Farmer's Secret. Once there was a farmer who could understand the language of animals, and he kept his gift a secret because he had been told that if he ever mentioned it, he would lose it forever. Imagine what that feels like, keeping a secret that you just can never speak of. Must be pretty terrible. One evening, he was working in the barn where he overheard some animal voices and stopped to listen. His bull was talking to the old donkey who lived in the stable next door. I think this bull is looking very sad. So let's see what he says. "I'm tired," grumbled the bull. How do you say that line? How will you be tired with your whole body and your shoulders and your arms and your face? "I'm tired." Do you want to try? "I help the farmer in the fields all day long while you laze around doing nothing. How is that fair?" And the donkey laughed. "Ha ha!" the donkey said. "Why don't you just say no?" she asked. "When the farmer comes tomorrow, you should just refuse to go with him." How do you think the donkey laughed? Do you think she had a loud laugh? Ha ha! I think she has lots of big teeth. So the next day, the bull did just that. He put down his head and he dug in his hooves, and nobody could move him from the barn. How do you do that when you dig your heels into the ground and you stand still like no one can move you? Let me see the strongest you can be. Do you want to stand up and try that? When the farm hands went to the farmer and said there was something wrong with the bull, he laughed, thinking of the donkey's advice. "Is that so?" said the farmer. "Well, in that case, I'll take the donkey to work instead." So the farmer led the old donkey out into the fields, and all day long she did the bull's work. I think now the donkey is going to be tired. You want to show us our tired body language again? Back in the barn, the bull snoozed happily and felt very pleased with himself. At the end of the day, the bull went to find the donkey to thank her for the good advice. "I'm going to do the same thing tomorrow," he added. "I'm never going to work again." Do you think he had a big smile on his face? What do you think he looked like? Maybe you can try that line. "I'm never going to work again." However, the donkey had no intention of doing the bull's work a second time. "Of course," she said in a sweet voice. But there is something I must tell you. I overheard the farmer telling his wife that he will sell you if you refuse to work again." Now the bull didn't want to be sold, so decided to work even harder than ever the next day. When the farmer heard this, he was pleased, knowing things would be back to normal the very next day. "I must have the cleverest donkey in the world," he said, chuckling to himself. "What makes you say that?" asked his wife. "What's a questioning face? Do you see what happens to your eyebrows and your cheeks when you start to question things? What makes you say that?" "It was just something the animal said," the farmer replied. What? The farmer's wife thought this was a very strange answer. "What did the animal say?" she asked. Nothing that I can tell you," said the farmer, who didn't want to lose his secret gift. I think he said that by mistake. I think it just slipped out of his mouth. His wife wouldn't stop asking what her husband meant until he hid in the barn in despair, So she went on and on. Can you see how many times she's asking him? What does that mean? 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 Maybe you want to try. The farmer should tell his wife what we really said, remarked the donkey. Of course, thought the farmer. What did the animals say? She asked him with a frown. They said moo and hee-haw, said the farmer. His wife stared. And then suddenly she burst out laughing. How do you burst out laughing? Can you try? That was a good joke, she said. And she stopped asking questions. And the farmer's secret was safe for another day. But I have a strong feeling she's going to find out at some point. And that is the end of the story. We hope you enjoyed that story. And we hope you enjoyed acting along. Now don't forget to get your hands dirty and start doing all of the craft activities associated with that story. And remember, even if we can't get on planes and travel around the world, stories and words can help us go anywhere.